In September, Good News Mission is actively conducting video interviews with overseas leaders and Pastor Oxopak. On the 14th, the mayor of Jensen of the Philippines and Kenya governments were interviewed on the 15th on TVN. Russia was also interviewed on the 15th. A total of 22 interviews were conducted with 140 people, including ministers, government officials, and Christian leaders from each country. Mayor Ronnie Levera of the southernmost city of the Philippines, Jensen City, is a close friend of Tegu Mayor. Through last year's World Camp, he met Pastor Oxopak and heard the gospel and received salvation. Pastor Park praised the part of Mayor Jensen's stable response by blocking external inflows in the COVID-19 situation and expressed his desire to work bigger through World Camps and prison preachings when Mayor Jensen is in office. In the morning of the 15th, interviews with government education officials from Spanish-speaking countries in Latin America were held. Many distinguished guests have been connected through numerous World Camps held in South America. Through this opportunity, I had time to discuss the questions I wanted to ask Pastor Oxopak and future plans. Among the distinguished guests in particular, former Ecuadorian President and Minister of Education and the current National Assembly member Rosa Ria Atta Egam attended the event. She has a lot of thoughts on the Ecuadorian youth issue and adds a lot of interest to the story of Pastor Oxopak's mind lecture during her work.
Los temas de educación me interesan mucho. Empecé mi trabajo como profesora cuando apenas tenía 17 años y nunca he dejado de pensar en la educación como la herramienta para cambiar al mundo. Por eso me interesó el trabajo que hace el pastor Park. Así es que creo que tenemos muchos puntos en contacto y espero la posibilidad de trabajar en conjunto.
I also met the VIP of the island country in the South Pacific through video. On the 16th, an interview was held with Maliana Polokasi, the governor of the education of the Methodist Church in Tonga. On the 17th, an interview was held with Dr. John Morning Poem, Vice Minister of Office and Women's Department of Office and System. In particular, John Morning Poem asked questions and listened to the words of the Bible delivered by Pastor Park and accepted the gospel. In addition, meetings and individual interviews with government and education officials, a coalition of pastors in Latin America continued. Pastor Oxopak delivered the gospel of forgiveness of sins and salvation through the words of the Bible in every meeting, inspiring hope to those he met. The distinguished guests who attended the interview also responded with Amen and requested that they visit their countries after the corona pandemic is over. In the midst of the corona crisis, people's lives are becoming more and more isolated, but I can confirm that God wants to spread the gospel around the world despite difficulties. On September 15th, there was an online interview with Pastor Oxopak, the founder of the International Youth Fellowship and the Kenyan government's youth education staff. The meeting was organized by the President's Office of Kenya and youth education managers such as Joseph Mensuru, Vice Minister of ICT Innovation and Youth Ministry, Vice Minister Julius Colley, Education Minister George Mogaha, and President Ruth Kajia's Executive Director Bosu Siok participated. In a 60-minute video interview, the Minister of Youth said in a loud message from the message of President Kenyatta, education brings success in the 21st century. We express our gratitude for the activities targeting youths, inmates, and Koreans.
And so going forward, I expect as a government to deepen our collaboration as we position character education as a catalyst for the transformation of our nation. In that regard, it is my earnest prayer that the coverage of the ongoing mindset training through the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs will be expanded to cover the entire country. And this can be done through greater use of technology. In addition, as we appreciate the power of education to transform lives, I invite you to work more closely with the Ministry of Education to integrate the mindset approach into the new curriculum. Again, Reverend Doctor, I applaud you for the generosity as we equip our youth with skills and knowledge to prepare them for a lifetime of service to the nation.
In response, Pastor Oksupak announced that he would focus on education to improve thinking ability with a 10-year long-term plan for Kenya youth, and proposed a plan conduct education for 1 year and expand it nationwide by designating a mindset pilot school in Kenya. He also revealed plans to expand technical education for computer construction vehicles through a university established in Nairobi. This online interview has become a meaningful starting point to promote Kenya's future development and programs for youth. On Saturday, September 12th, the second Ganam Church College Evangelism Conference was held at Good News Ganam Church. As the social distancing of COVID-19 continued, it seemed that the college student activities in church were shrinking, but we are not of them who draw back onto perdition, but of them that believe to the saving of the soul. Under the words of Hebrews, I took the first step of the new gospel. Students who did not have much experience in preaching the gospel participated in this conference with a mind to take a step forward in evangelism by engraving the words in their hearts. This event was held in the form of a total of 34 college students participating through Zoom. The conference, in 5 minutes, Pastor Oksupak delivered a congratulatory remark that he felt very happy for college students to participate in the gospel work together. Students presented the eternal atonement, the hearts and the altar of burnt offering, brass serpents, Romans chapter 2, the woman caught in adultery, and so on, explaining from various perspectives about grace and faith, not actions, which are the core of the gospel. Yes, as I participated in this gospel evangelism contest, I felt that God is pleased to preach the gospel. I read the Bible and asked the pastor to prepare. I knew the gospel until now, but I was shutting my mouth. God is pleased for me to open my mouth. I felt that kind of feeling. Even after this evangelism conference, I want to live while preaching the gospel to my true friends and feeling the happiness of preaching the gospel, that the pastor said. This conference opened a new door for evangelism amongst students. I look forward to seeing young people who will preach the gospel of grace to many people around the world. Good News in Chan Church announced online activities for each department and team to carry out active evangelism activities in the second half of last year. The members of the congregation came up with novel and meeting ideas through the wisdom of God as they had time to interact and think together through online meetings. It will be great if there will be an opportunity to benchmark each other while observing the activities prepared by a total of 27 teams and departments. In addition, it was a meaningful time for the members who had stepped back because of the difficulty of their faith to participate and unite their hearts internally. As the saints prepared their action plan, they learned that God's work provided everything, and there was hope in the words that He was doing the work of power by fighting with God's heart, like amnesty from David. Also, it was an opportunity to open a new horizon for the online evangelism meeting.